Dana White and Tom Aspinall's relationship is very quickly starting to look like Dana White and Francis Ngannou's relationship, because in the lead up to UFC 321, actually during the UFC 321 fight week, we started getting hints that Tom Aspinall's relationship with the UFC might not be as good as we think it is. The very first sign of this came when Tom Aspinall was saying that he would vacate the belt so that he would not have to fight his friend and training partner, Ante Delija, who is ranked like 8th or 9th in the heavyweight division right now. And Dana White said he hates that. And this right here is Tom Aspinall on the Shits and Gigs podcast, a very popular UK comedy podcast, saying that he would rather vacate than fight Ante Delija.
Fight your best friend for the title or vacate the belt and never get it back.
So this is actually a bit of an on-trend topic.
Okay.
So my friend and training partner has just got to the UFC. He just got his first
I saw.
win, and now he's in the top 10, which is like, to get your first win, into, like, you just beat a guy in the top 10.
Oh, sick.
Oh, nice.
So like he's potentially like 2 or 3 wins away from like a title shot.
That's all good.
Right, okay, cool. So yeah.
Let's play out. Let's play out.
How would this go?
So the thing is, if I'd never won a title, I'd never touched gold before, we would have to fight, because that's my dream.
Yeah.
But now I've done it, I would be like, I'll vacate it and he can have his time.
Fair.
Really? So if it came to it, you're just not fighting him?
I wouldn't fight him. No chance. No chance.
Damn.
Fucking
No.
props.
That's my
really?
Yeah. That's, so I've got guys who I train with, of course, and I've trained with them for years and stuff. And I've got other guys who are my like genuine friends.
Yeah.
And he's one of like my genuine friends. I would never like. There's some stuff to me that's like more important than like money and titles. And like I say, I've won the title. I've done that. And I've got a few more in me before he's going to be up there anyway. So if none of us had won the title and we were both in around the same time, we'd have to fight, because that's my dream.
Yeah.
I've got to do it, and that's his dream. But right now I've done it. I've still got more to do, but I can do that more in the time that
It
he's
takes him
climbing.
to get up.
And when he's there, I'm happy to.
Fair play, man.
Bro, that's an incredible I don't think you understand. That's an incredible statement, bro.
Yeah.
And of course, the hosts of the Shits and Gigs podcast give Tom quite a bit of props for being willing to give up the belt for his friend Ante Delija. Dana White does not feel the same way, because he was asked about it by TNT Sports in an interview during the UFC 321 fight week. This is what he had to say.
10 is his friend, Ante Delija, and he would vacate the title if Delija got to a point where he was going to fight for the title.
You know what I think about that.
Yes.
Before you even ask me. I hate that, many friends, relatives, name it, have all fought each other before. It doesn't determine whether you are friends with somebody or you hate somebody. You're competing against them to see who the best is, but that's his decision. If he defends the title and does whatever he does, to even think about vacating it because you don't want to compete against somebody is absolutely insane. But he's a grown man. That's up to him.
And so Dana White says that he hates that. And there Ante Delija is. He's at number 9 in the heavyweight division, right behind Derek Lewis. Dana White is right. There has been quite a few times where this has taken place. Of course, we had Aljamain Sterling as the bantamweight champion recently, and his very close friend and training partner, Merab Dvalishvili, who is the current champ. They refused to fight each other when Merab was the number 1 contender. Fortunately for their friendship, Sugar Sean O'Malley knocked out Aljamain Sterling, sent him up to 145 pounds, and that allowed for Merab Dvalishvili to get a title shot against Sugar Sean. And if you guys remember, Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns, very close friends at the time, training partners at Killcliff FC. It was called the Black Zillions at the time. And that is what caused Kamaru Usman to change gyms and start training at Onyx Sports with Trevor Whitman, Justin Gaethje, and that crowd, because they were training partners and friends, and they ended up fighting for the title. So, of course, there is a lot of different ways that this can go. Of course, someday we might see Logan and Jake Paul fight each other as well. There is a pretty big divide as to how people feel about this, because some people go, yep, they're friends. I understand why they wouldn't want to fight. And then you have other people go, hey, man, it would be the best boys' nights ever. We fight each other and take home millions from Dana White. Frankly, I don't know what I'd do in that situation, but I'm not in that situation. But what I'm trying to get at is that Dana White and Tom Aspinall's relationship is very quickly deteriorating. And I'm sure that Tom Aspinall feels some type of way towards the UFC after the Jon Jones situation. Truly, I think the real reason that Tom Aspinall would be willing to give up the belt and why Dana White is upset with him is because of this statement right here made by Ante Aspinall, who is Tom Aspinall's father, head coach, and manager. Here in an interview during UFC 321 Fight Week, says he wants Tom Aspinall to leave the UFC for boxing once his contract is up for the payday. This is the clip right here.
That you wanted a boxing champion.
Yeah, for sure.
You're okay with an MMA champion, but you wanted a boxing champion.
Boxing for sure. The money is
More money.
more money. Why not?
Would that be an outcome for him? No.
There's 3 more fights on the contract now.
Okay. So,
And I don't want to sign a new contract.
okay.
Personally.
So that's why, because I asked him, he always talk about keeping you.
And I know there's a lot of other noise in the room, but Ante Aspinall says there's 3 fights left on the contract. He doesn't want to re-sign. Personally, that's his take. And he is head coach, father, and manager of Tom Aspinall. And of course, the Ciryl Gane fight that ended in a no contest just this past weekend was one of those 3 fights. So Tom Aspinall has 2 fights left on his contract and the heavyweight belt. This is very quickly becoming the Francis Ngannou situation all over again.
UFC should have 3 defenses. Would he have 4? But he said, no, it's not in my mind.
No. Only one fight. We only ever think one fight. Ciryl, win, lose, next fight.
I'm excited to say Andy told me Tom will be a boxing champion by 2028.
The host also says that Ante Aspinall told him that Tom Aspinall would be a boxing heavyweight world champion by 2028, which is over 2 years from now. This could be pointing to a complete rerun of the Francis Ngannou situation. And Dana White is very, very cold towards people once they are not doing exactly what him and the UFC wants. If you remember, they propped up Tom Aspinall big time during the Jon Jones saga, and they also hyped up Francis Ngannou. And as soon as things went bad with Francis Ngannou in the UFC, where he essentially left the UFC with the lineal heavyweight belt, Francis Ngannou is the lineal heavyweight champion of MMA. And we'll get to that in a sec, but fans are now talking even more about Dana White potentially taking digs at Tom Aspinall after he did not continue to fight at UFC 321 after an illegal eye poke by Ciryl Gane.
I think that I said earlier, because of the Jon Jones fight, I think everybody was sleeping on Ciryl Gane and sort of wrote him off. And he's right behind me. He's coming in next, so you guys can ask him how he felt. But I feel like, I'm sure in his camp, he was training like an animal for this fight. And it's unfortunate that it ended the way that it did. And yes, I think that there probably will be a lot more interest in the rematch after they saw, he had Tom bloodied up, and Tom didn't want to continue in the fight. So the rematch is very interesting.
And of course, he's talking about how the rematch between Ciryl Gane and Tom Aspinall is going to be bigger than this fight because Ciryl Gane was doing better than many people expected. But he did say he had Tom bloodied up and he didn't want to continue in the fight, making it sound like Tom Aspinall kind of bitched out of the fight. And this is really starting to look like the Francis Ngannou situation, because after building up Francis to be, he punches harder than a Ford Focus, hitting you at 25 miles an hour, whatever the hell that stat was that Dana White loved to throw around. This is what Dana White had to say about Francis after he left the UFC.
Like Francis as a person. Wasn't a guy I wanted to do business with. My boys were telling me he's misunderstood. And I told them, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Yeah, it wasn't about him becoming the heavyweight champion of the world. Francis isn't a good guy. He plays the good guy. I don't understand the language, and so he seems like he's a nice guy. He's not, and he's just not a guy that I wanted to be in business with.
It's just funny hearing this come from Dana White, because one, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them, and also not understanding Tom Aspinall not wanting to fight his friend. I mean, yeah, Dana White fights with his fucking wife on camera. Of course, he doesn't understand friends not wanting to fight each other. He fights his wife. So that's what he had to say about Francis. As soon as things went sour with Francis. Whether he really felt those things or not before the deal went bad, up to you guys to decide. Quick break. If you're loving this video and you want more from Fight Society, click that join button down below to become a channel member today, where you'll get access to members-only live streams, behind-the-scenes vlogs, and all the unfiltered stuff that we don't post to the main channel. Back to the video. And even after this, after Francis Ngannou, went on, won his fight against Renan Ferreira, his first PFL fight, after getting 2 massive boxing paydays and arguably beating Tyson Fury, he's talking about how salty Dana White is towards him.
I've lost this in this situation. He can't understand it. Bro, I won everything. It's been, what, almost 2 years? And the guy is still out there. He can't live without it.
Francis is all about the money. He didn't want to fight John Jones. He knew that if he fought John Jones and didn't win, it would hurt his chances of making the money that he wanted to make. His deal was bigger here if he stayed in the UFC.
And everybody knows that that is not true. Everybody knows that Francis Ngannou would not have made $20 to $25 million per fight like he did against Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua to stay and fight John Jones. I actually remember the contract. I think it was $10 million to fight John Jones and then revisiting the numbers after that fight based on if he won or not. As soon as his heavyweight champions or his champions in general don't do specifically what he wants and what benefits him in the UFC, he goes cold on him. Francis didn't want to fight John Jones. Francis would have made more money. Tom Aspinall doesn't want the belt. Tom Aspinall didn't want to continue fighting. And even here, after years, literally years of glazing John Jones, he's the best of all time, he's this and that. As soon as John Jones didn't make the Tom Aspinall fight happen, can't risk him ever. Can't risk him in any big spot.
John Jones says he wants to be on there too, and he says he would fight whoever the champion is at that time. But would you be okay with him coming back and potentially winning that belt again? And you might have to go through.
Well, it's not even about him winning the belt. I mean, I felt about him. I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong.
And it just shows you the switch up that Dana White does when people are not bending to his will, because here he was saying that John Jones has never ducked a fight, never turned down anybody.
Isn't afraid to fight anybody. And that's a fact. The only time that anything remotely weird has ever happened with John Jones was the time that his camp did the weird Chael Sonnen thing. That wasn't him, it was his team. But other than that, John Jones behind the scene is not a guy that turns down fights.
So behind the scenes, John Jones does not turn down fights. But then, of course, once John Jones retires and ducks the Tom Aspinall fight for good, he says the fight was done, and then all of a sudden it wasn't.
For that, but yeah, the fight was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that.
So there's the Dana White switch up, the way that he treats his champions as soon as they aren't company men through and through. The second that they look out for their friends or their interest or their own career or their own wallet, they duck. They don't want to fight this person. They don't want to fight that person. Tom didn't want to continue. Truly, truly annoying and dishonest behavior. And I know that he's a fight promoter. I'm not expecting him to be the most honest guy in the world, but it's just despicable. And now we're looking at a situation where Tom Aspinall has 2 fights left on his UFC deal. Dana White says that he didn't want to fight anymore. He says that he hates you, that he won't fight his friend. And Tom Aspinall's coach, manager, and father says that he doesn't want Tom to re-sign. And so while everybody's caught up on the eye poke and did Tom quit, did he want to continue, did he bitch out, whatever it is that people are feeling about UFC 321 and the way that the fight with Ciryl Gane ended, this is going to come to a very ugly head really, really soon. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Tom Aspinall exiting the UFC in a year or two's time and trying to set up boxing fights with Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk, somebody like that. There's a lot of big boxing fights out there for Tom Aspinall, and he would do a lot better in those fights than Francis Ngannou because he's a skilled boxer, not just a power puncher. There we have it. The Dana White playbook exposed once again, where as soon as the champ doesn't do what he wants, they don't want to fight, he hates it, whatever. The Francis Ngannou treatment is coming for Tom Aspinall, and it's coming very quickly. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you want more from Fight Society? Like and subscribe below this video, and click the join button to become a channel member today to get access to behind the scenes vlogs and members only live streams.